All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. For the longest time, it's felt like something straight out of science fiction, but it's not anymore. It's here and it's an incredibly powerful tool that can create art, solve massive problems, and honestly reshape our world. But here's the thing. With that kind of creative power comes some serious responsibility. So let's dive in and really explore what that means.
To really get a feel for AI's creative side, let's start with a question for you. Could a machine write your absolute favorite song? Now, if you'd asked me that a decade ago, I would have said, no way. But today, the answer is, yeah, kinda.
So check this out. Tools like Suno AI can now generate completely original music. I'm talking vocals, instruments, the whole shebang, across just a staggering range of styles. You can literally just type in a prompt for a pop anthem, a smooth R&B track, or even a heavy dubstep drop. And this isn't just about mimicking what's already out there. It's genuine creation. It really shows you just how far these creative abilities have come.
Seeing this stuff in action, it honestly feels like magic. But behind the curtain, AI is actually built on some really elegant principles, often inspired by nature. So, how does it do it?
Well, one of the core ideas is something called swarm intelligence. Just picture a flock of birds flying, turning in perfect sync. There's no leader up there shouting orders, right? Instead, every single bird is just following a few simple rules, like match the speed of your neighbor or don't get too close. And from those super simple local rules, this beautiful, complex, coordinated global behavior just emerges.
So how do these swarms coordinate without a boss? They use a nifty mechanism called stigmergy. It's a fancy word for indirect communication. The classic example is ants leaving a chemical trail to a food source. They're not talking, they're changing their environment, and that change guides the others. In a way, many AI systems do the same thing. They learn and adapt by following the digital trails left in huge datasets. And here's the main takeaway. Really complex, sometimes totally unpredictable results can pop up from a set of very simple rules.
And that power, that ability for unpredictable, emergent behavior, it's not just for making music anymore. It's getting woven into everything. We're talking healthcare, finance, even our justice system. These are really high-stakes areas where an unexpected outcome could have some serious consequences.
And that, right there, brings us to the central question of this whole thing. Now that we have this incredible power to shape our world, a power that can act in ways we don't always see coming, what are our responsibilities to make sure it's actually used for good?
This is where the real work starts. According to the IEEE Global Initiative, one of the leading groups thinking about all this, it's just not enough for an AI to work. It has to be actively beneficial. Their ethically aligned design framework gives us a kind of roadmap for tackling this enormous challenge.
So, this IEEE framework is built on a set of core principles, and you should think of these less as suggestions and more as essential guardrails for anyone building or using these AI systems.
The first one, the big one, is human rights. What this means is that every AI system, from its very first line of code, has to be designed to respect, promote, and protect our fundamental rights. This isn't some feature you add on later, it's the absolute bedrock. Everything else has to be built on top of this.
Next up, well-being. The real measure of an AI success shouldn't just be how fast it is or how much data it can crunch. It should be its positive impact on us, on people. Does it make our lives, our society, our planet healthier? That has to be the #1 goal.
The third principle is accountability. This is huge. If an AI makes a critical decision, like a medical diagnosis or a loan application, we absolutely need to know who is responsible. And this gets really tricky with these emergent systems, where maybe no single programmer intended for that specific outcome to happen. But the rule has to be clear. The computer said so can never, ever be an acceptable excuse.
And right alongside that, you have transparency. The reasoning behind any AI decision should always be discoverable. We just can't have these black box systems making life-altering choices without any explanation. Now, this creates a real tension because a lot of these advanced AI models are trade secrets. So figuring out how to balance innovation with this need to understand how a decision was made, that's one of the toughest challenges we're facing right now.
So when you lay it all out, the division of labor becomes pretty clear. AI is this amazing tool for analyzing data, finding patterns, creating content. But our role, the human role, is to define the values, to ensure there's fairness, and to ultimately maintain that accountability.
And this brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway here. Responsibility never just vanishes into the machine.
As the IEEE report makes perfectly clear, the buck stops with us, with the people who design them, the people who use them, and the society that sets the rules for them.
Which really leaves us with one last massive question. An AI system isn't born good or bad. It's just going to be a mirror, reflecting the values and the priorities we decide to build into it. So, as we stand here at the very beginning of this new era, maybe the most important question we can ask ourselves is, what values should we choose?